harvesting cotton in southern India. The farmers have specialized in cotton growing. They want a share in the white gold business. A good harvest brings in more money than rice, grain, or vegetable crops. That's why most farmers have switched to cotton. A cotton belt is stretching across southern India. The people in this region have become dependent on a good harvest, on the fruits of their labor. Anand is one of the farmers who switched over. He gave up traditional agriculture and hopes to make a lot of money fast. Things look good for him. He inherited his farmland from his father, so he doesn't have to pay fees to a landowner, like so many farmers in the area. Anand remembers how it all started.
I've only been growing cotton for 8 years. At the beginning, I was sure that the soil on my fields wasn't good for cotton, but all the other farmers were making a good living from cotton, and they all talked me into doing it too. Now cotton is almost the only crop I grow.
Day after day, Anand works in his fields tending to his crop. His most important tool is the canister with the pesticide. Last year, 2/3 of the harvest were destroyed by worms. He tried to kill the pests with insecticide, but it didn't have any effect. The worms had grown resistant to the poison, and they survived. The failed harvest was the ruin of many farmers. Anand lives with the fear of meeting the same fate. He couldn't withstand another crop failure, so he sprays his plants every day and after every rain. The poison doesn't just land on the plants, it lands on his skin too. The pesticide is called monocroptophos, a phosphor organic substance that is dangerous for humans. After spraying for several hours, Anand is dazed. His tongue is numb and thick in his mouth, and he feels so sick that he doesn't feel like eating. Water is a costly commodity, so he washes sparingly in the evening. But cold water can't wash the poison off. Inevitably, it works its way through the skin into the body. But Anand doesn't give it much thought.
Pesticides and cotton growing, for me, they simply belong together. We use a lot of pesticides, but monocroptophos isn't dangerous. I don't need to protect myself from it. Cypermethrin and endosulfan, they are dangerous.
He lets his wife bring the really dangerous pesticides.
I see, so monocroptophos is not so dangerous.
He doesn't know what's printed on the containers. He never learned to read. Neither does he know the meaning of the red triangle with the skull. The American woolworm and other pests have long become resistant to most poison. Many pesticides should actually be taken off the market. Instead, they continue to be sold. Some farmers think that if they use double the amount of pesticide, they'll be able to kill off some of the pests. The cotton farmers rent expensive motorized sprayers to spread pesticide over the fields from morning till evening. They don't wear face masks or protective clothing. The hum of the spraying machines belongs to the noise of everyday life in India's cotton belt. The poison also lands on the cornfields, thus working its way into the food chain. The professional sprayers literally bathe in chemicals. Their clothing is soaked through. With every breath, the poison is drawn into their lungs. Their tongues become numb. A poisonous cloud of pesticide forms over the entire region. Nowhere else are such quantities of chlor and phosphor organic chemicals sprayed as in the cotton belt. Every kind of insecticide is available here. Even highly dangerous products like the cancer-inducing lindane are sold over the counter. In Europe, these pesticides have been banned for years because of their deadly effect on humans. But in India, business is booming. Renowned international chemical companies such as Novartis, DuPont, and Bayer have moved their production to India because here there's a market for these chemicals. Bayer's pesticide sellers in India know about the ban in Europe, but business is business. New products are constantly being stocked. They're supposed to be highly effective. The pests haven't become resistant to them yet. Anand also needs more effective chemicals. The newer they are, the more expensive they are. For example, Avant from Bayer. For the farmers, it's just numbers. The harvest is often put up for collateral. Anand has to pay 3,500 rupees, $75, up front for the supposedly most effective pesticide. With his average yearly income of 4,800 rupees, $100, he has no choice but to incur more debt. His suppliers are happy for the fat commission they earn from Bayer.
Last year, the green worms ate my harvest. I sprayed monocrotophos, endosulfan, and a couple of other pesticides. I went to my supplier and got new ones, but they didn't do anything either. Now I'm using Avant, but it's expensive, so now I've got a lot of debt.
But the supplier wants his money, whether or not the pests destroy another crop. When the farmers run out of cash, they can buy pesticide on credit. Their debts grow too large to count. The last bit of land has been pawned. All that remains is doubt. Last year alone, 700 farmers committed suicide. They drank the poison that couldn't kill the pests.
I lost my son. He drank insecticide to kill himself. I always warned him about getting into the cotton business.
We are poor now. We've lost our land. My son left a wife and children behind. How are we all supposed to go on?
Anand, too, has fallen into the vicious pesticide death cycle. He sprays even when the threat from pests is long over and the cotton is being picked. When the cotton has finally been harvested, Anand drives full of hope to the cotton market in Vahangal. This year, he has 2 sacks to sell freely on the market. The rest of the harvest has been claimed by his lenders. He's caught in the pesticide cycle. He has to go on. There are many more farmers like him.